Hello and welcome to the Green Card with me, Katie Green. And today I'm with the very, very funny Tadiwa Mahlunge.
Hello.
I am so excited. We're going to have a great conversation that we've actually already had. Enjoy.
I'm not super aware of your socioeconomic background, but I'm pretty sure you grew up not broke, but kind of poor.
I grew up in a situation where I currently always think about money. Like I'm always worried about money. And I don't think I'll ever not be stressed out about money. No matter how well I do, I think I'm always going to be like, money's going to be gone one day. Yeah,
that's how I feel about everything with comedy.
Yeah.
I feel like with money now, I've kind of stopped, it'll never run out. But not in a way of like, it's more in a way of like, I'm always going to have marketable skills in my head.
Right. So that's why you do
I have the day job.
The day job.
The day job gets rid of the fear of running out of money. But I used to brought up to say the annoying thing about not having wealthy parents, because my parents, I grew up poor.
Wait, so you grew up poor? Then okay,
not broke, but like
you moved to Wales at what age?
So I was part of a weird generation. So Zimbabwe it's like China. There's no such thing as inherited wealth, you know.
Okay.
So my mother's generation was the generation that went to university for the first time.
Okay.
And so I was bred to be a fucking prince. It fucks me off so much. Like, I should not have to try. I should be so rich. My father is wealthy. My mother was wealthy when in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
She had a big fucking house at like 26, you know.
Oh, wow.
And like she was like a corporate lawyer. She had Wintertons and so, like she was doing so well. I was I went, my prep school was like in like some lady's mansion, like my preschool and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I was supposed to be a little rich cunt.
Yeah.
But then like, all the stuff happened with the politics in Zimbabwe. My mom had to leave for her safety.
Yeah.
And any money she had in Zimbabwean dollars evaporated because, you know, inflation of the Zimbabwean dollar. So not only did she leave, like all of her assets turned to shit, all of our family's assets turned to shit. And my father still has money because he's in with the government. He went on the Sith Lord side, and she was on the Jedi side. Yeah, it's fucked.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I grew up poor, despite having had like a few years of being quite rich in a poor country.
Yeah.
Which sucks dick, you know. I should have been like a presidential candidate in Zimbabwe. Like genuinely, if things had gone normal and there weren't, you know, military coups in Zimbabwe, I would have been like a little fucking Kennedy.
Now you're here in London. And so you moved to Wales and then...
Yeah, I was like 7. We lived in London for a year and then me and my grandparents went to Cardiff.
God, that must have been so hard.
Yeah. But, you know, other people had it worse. My parents had it much worse.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, in terms of acclimating to being British, I still don't fully feel British. But I think I was really dissecting it. And I think a part of the reason why I don't feel British is because I've always felt like an outsider. And it's not really been because of me not being born here. It's always been because I've been weirder and funnier than everyone. There was one year my mom told me about. My mother tells me shit I shouldn't know. She told me there was one year in school.
Yeah.
Where I had a parents' evening.
Okay.
And I had a teacher who sat her down and said, "Your son is hilarious, but he's telling jokes, dirty jokes that other children don't understand." And so, as a teacher, I can't laugh because I don't want to lose my job. But he's saying things that children don't get, but are funny. And my mother didn't tell me this till I was like 25. She told me this year. All she had to do was like, "Hey, Tad, do you want to edit your material?" I would have been the most popular kid in school. Instead, I was bullied forever.
Because you were saying dark jokes? Or
dark jokes, fucked up jokes. I was the kid that introduced the other kids to the new fucked up thing.
Oh, and how are you getting all this like knowledge?
I grew up with grandparents who didn't know how to use anything on the internet. So I had complete unrestricted internet access. I mean, I grew up on Reddit and 4chan and shit. My closest friends from like age 13 till I'd say 16 and a half were all from Sweden and Denmark.
Oh.
Yeah, we met playing like World of Warcraft and stuff and like League of Legends and shit. And we just taught. My friend Victor, who came over, we met for the first time this year. Like, we'd talk to each other for 7 hours a day. Like, we just chat shit, watch fucked up videos, then play games, chat shit, fucked up videos, play games. And that was all our summer holidays.
And you just met this year?
We met this year in for real life, yeah.
Oh my God, we're here in London?
Yeah, he flew over. He's like rich as fuck now. He's like a data manager person.
Oh my God, what was it like hanging out with him in real life?
Oh, it's so sad. Like we've grown apart because we never spoke for a decade.
Oh, you stopped speaking.
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna keep it going because I stopped playing video games in sixth form because my mother moved me out of Cardiff to Stevenage to live with her because my GCSEs were shit by her standards, and she wanted me to live with her for sixth form. And then I kind of lost any friends I had in Cardiff, all my internet friends, and the kids in the new sixth form didn't really want to. Again, I was just I don't know what, I wanted people to like me so much that it just backfired horribly.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of didn't have friends for most of my life. But hey, life turns around.
Yeah. It's really hard, man. And like school is the worst time. I can't imagine moving around.
I didn't go to the same school for more than 3 years at any point in my life.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's bad. I can feel that. No, I hated school.
Yeah.
My senior year, I almost transferred to a different school like halfway through because I'm like, I can't take this anymore.
What was it with yours?
Well, I was getting bullied. This by that kid in a wheelchair.
What?
I've never told you this?
No.
There used to be this kid who would bully me, and he was in a wheelchair, and he just like roll past me, and like I used to like this. He had a really nice wheelchair. That was literally it. That's literally how it felt. Horrible. And I used to have a crush on this guy, and it was
wheelchair Jimmy fucking what are you, Degrassi?
Wait, and you know what's crazy is the guy can walk now, which is I do this in a bit, but it's so people like think I'm like being like mean. I'm like, no, he fucking walks and he does stand up.
He stands up.
He does stand up to yeah.
He stands up for a living.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
It made it really bad. Like I almost didn't graduate, and he'd bully me because I liked this guy, and I was always quite open with like I was like, why is it weird to not? I'm like, everyone should know that I like someone. And it took me a long time to realize I don't think I should tell everyone everything.
Was in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm healed, but now parking is awful. Now I have to hobble a long distance to get into Tesco. Great cardio, but...
Yeah, God, yeah. But yeah, it was difficult, and like I think the feeling like you get from school of always feeling like an outsider and a loser, I think they'll never go away.
I feel like a total loser, which is bizarre. I was saying to you before, like I don't in my previous relationship, I said and it's the thing I've kept. I don't have more than 2 bad days in a row. I don't believe in that. Because I'm quite depression prone. But right now, it's the first time in years where I've had sustained sadness. And it's a bizarre thing to go through. So, feel, rather. What
do you think? So you think it's just like you now allowing yourself to feel it? Or do you think it's actually because of events that have happened that have really...
I think it's happening on multiple levels. I think... I'm not sure I was ever happy or ever learned to love myself. I think I just kept succeeding all the time and achieving things. And I used that as, oh, I did this. Yeah, I'm fucking awesome. Fucking, yeah, I'm the fucking best.
Yeah.
And this Edinburgh cycle was the first time I've really been confronted and taken on the notion that I might be average, which is something I have not thought about at all and very violently suppressed.
But is it that you feel like you're average, or do you think it's you feel that you're like maybe as susceptible as other people are to these feelings? Do you know what I mean? Because it must be a lot of pressure of the feeling of feeling like you always have to be the best.
Yeah, it's a consistent, and it's the thought. I've never not thought I could be the best. I've never not thought it. I was calling my grandfather on his birthday, just brief, like a 3-minute phone call. And I was like, all right, goodbye, I love you. I'm going to do a show. And he was like, make sure when you do your performances that you outshine everyone. Have a good night. This is a motherfucker who, for years, said, why do you go out and do this comedy? Like, for years.
Really?
My whole family. Oh, it wasn't like, it was active, willful obstruction. How can we make it not happen?
Wow.
The whole family, until I started making any money from it. Yeah. Which is fair, because they have no concept of it's fair.
Yeah,
it's
I feel like people who are outside of this world, and even inside this world, have no other way of determining success in this industry unless there's a monetary value attached to something.
Yeah.
Or it's something significant. So your grandpa's saying there's this voice inside your head of you're always being like, I've got to be the best.
Yeah.
But I feel like, does that not create like insecurity within yourself of like the feeling of like, because that's a lot of pressure. Comparison
is a thief of joy. And yeah, I feel like that in the lead up to this fringe, I think I'd hate to do a fringe show about doing a fringe show, but it looks like that's what is happening.
Okay.
Because
are you already working? Are you going to go out next year or what?
Definitely not next year. Maybe next year. Probably not next year. Hopefully not next year.
Okay.
But it's just the damage that this whole ordeal has done. I mean, I'm back in therapy. I have to be back. 3 things have put me in therapy in my life. Was starting working in finance, because that was a step up in responsibility that I've just never had.
Right.
And the environment was so, we don't give a fuck about you, sink or swim, or we will fire you. That was horrible. And I had to get therapy for that. Therapy in anticipation of my last breakup to make sure I was doing it the right way and that I would handle it, and doing the fringe.
Wow.
2 major things that you should get therapy for, and 1 thing that I don't think you should get therapy for.
Finance. I don't. Not that big.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should go into therapy for doing the Edinburgh Fringe.
No,
I don't think it. I don't think a fucking comedy festival should hurt like that.
But it does. I honestly, like, I was there for 10 days this year, and I was like, I really did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I can't imagine having you. I mean, you having done the full run, having pressure, and having all that.
And I was working the whole way through as well.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I think you probably the only person that I know that gigs to like the extent. I'd say that you maybe gig slightly more than me.
No, not anymore. You gig more than me now.
He's counting.
No, because you'll tell me about your week, and I'm like,
yeah.
I haven't done that since 2019. Like, since I've been in relationships, I've never gigged like that.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like, but it's like, at least you have a relationship. Like, I feel
that's the only thing that keeps me off stage. If my girlfriend and I ever split up, I wouldn't have sex for 3 years probably. I would.
You'd just be working.
I feel like I'm spiraling into being an uncle right now. I'm no longer like a man or a person. I'm just my little sister's older brother and my niece and nephew's uncle.
Right.
That's all I am. Yeah.
Yeah, God, but it's so hard though, because it's like I feel like it's way better to have the balance, because for me, I was meant to like kind of have a night off today, and I was like, oh no, couldn't do that.
Why not?
I couldn't, because I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, I genuinely don't know what I'll do.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like I could maybe like, it's like people don't want to hang out really last minute. Most of my friends are comics, so they're probably gigging.
Yeah.
And then what then maybe I could go on a date, but with who? I don't know anyone.
There's a lot of books on that shelf that
I could read.
The only way I know how to relax is to smoke weed. That's the only way.
That helps you?
Well, it means that I can't work. It means that like for this next couple of hours, even if I want to accomplish things, I'm physically impaired. It's like a person who's a compulsive sprinter, runner, whose body hurts, so he ties himself to his bed so he can't move.
Right.
That's what weed does for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so if I need to relax and I don't know how, I'll just smoke up and play FIFA.
Okay.
And that's the only way I can really do it. Which is not, I mean, you should be able to relax in other ways.
It's also really hard to do it in this industry. I feel like it's like you step 1 foot out and you kind of feel like, that's how I always feel. I'm like, oh, if I don't gig today, then maybe they'll forget about me tomorrow, or maybe I'll get stop being booked, or like me taking a week out. Oh, the anxiety.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel about my career constantly, is that this is all going to go away. But a therapist who I did talk to, and I hate looking for a new therapist, man.
So, so I was going to say, are you, so these 3 events, are you going to the same therapist, or are you finding different therapists for each event?
Different one each time.
Okay.
It's a real therapist breakup each time.
Oh, wow.
The first therapist was the one I fell in love with for that bit.
Okay.
Not for a bit, but it wasn't the bit. Yeah, I fell in love with this 45-year-old woman for a joke.
Honestly, wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah, well, don't, because it happened. And the second one was an art collector, but like by the end, I was inventing problems.
Okay.
And also, like, he was kind of not giving me any pushback or resistance. He was kind of like, this was peak me. My best friend told me last night that the 3 boys I live with, my closest friends, there was a point while I was single, and you saw me last year, it wasn't good. Yeah. There was a point when I was single where they wanted to stage an intervention because I was doing too much. Dating too much, yeah. And it was too over the top. Because when I was dating, I wasn't just like fucking everyone. I was trying to. Yeah. But I was like catching feelings. And so I'd be in like multiple situationships all the time. And it was quite wearing.
Wow, so it's so interesting speaking to guys who have feelings, or like who have, because most of the guys like, I just feel like it's so, I'm like, wow, it's nice that all my guy friends have like the capacity to be like, I like a girl, whereas like any guy that I've ever dated has been like, no.
Well, I saw a thing on Insta last night of like a guy going like, don't ever be caught dead crying in front of a woman. If you cry in front of your woman, she go walk out. She stay in the feminine energy, you stay in the masculine energy. She can complain about her shit at work during the day, and you just take and you just fucking.
I feel like every guy I've ever dated has watched that. Yeah. And they probably all liked it. And they're like, yeah.
I think there's a halfway house, because it is some bitch nigga shit to cry. But
I feel like it is. It's just like.
Isn't it unattractive though?
Nah.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't fully think it's unattractive. Yeah. I don't get the ick. No, there's way more things that give me the ick than a guy crying. Yeah. I think it's quite sweet, but I also have a lot of. I mean, I find the weirdest things
attractive.
Like, yeah. You know what? I was out with a guy the other day, and he was ignored by somebody that he asked a question to. Yeah. And I was like, wow. I was like, that was like, it hurt me that
humanizing
that he was ignored. And then I was like, oh, I think I'm in love with him now.
You want to see some part of yourself in them.
Yeah.
Something to latch
maybe. But I just think that with the crying thing, I think I'd rather a guy be more emotionally, or at least attempt. Because I think the issue that I find right now is there's lots of guys who are pretending to be emotionally aware who are not really being emotionally aware. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have this argument a lot when it comes to dating. Yeah. And did you ever read the book?
No.
No.
I don't read. I'm very dumb.
There's this book called Sex at Dawn, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it basically talks about, the theory that, I mean, there's lots of books about it. There's about like how we're all like meant to be like very animalistic and fuck everybody, and monogamy is not real and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you believe in this?
Well,
because I don't like when men take an argument like that and they're like, yeah, see, that's why I'm a dog. And it's like, okay, but no, you're a dog because you don't know how to show your emotions.
And you're afraid of commitment.
And you're afraid of commitment.
I have two minds about this, because I feel like long-term, deep, nurturing relationships are extremely important to put together for a stable life. However, have you heard of the thing called the 80-20 rule?
No.
There's a thing where 20% of men who've ever existed have been able to reproduce, and 80% of women who've ever existed have been able to reproduce. So it's like 80% of men in all of history just don't have offspring.
Oh.
And monogamous relationships are quite like a historically recent thing that we've introduced for societal stability. Because, all right, everyone gets a piece, so we don't have to be fucking conquerors,
Yeah.
Like, that's the mentality. So it's like, across history, the Don Dada of the tribe would have a few wives, and then his lieutenants would have less, and their deputies would have less, and that was the societal structure, And, the sentrymen, the weak little people who have my build would just not reproduce for all of history.
Oh.
That's how it's always been. But then that brings into the question of why not have multiple wives? Is one person enough for another person for their entire life? Are you selecting someone you can grow with that's going to grow with you?
Yeah,
all that kind of shit.
It's all tricky, but
to say that we have soulmates and we're born to be with one person is dumb, and to say that we should all just fuck everybody.
Yeah,
both are equally dumb. It's like those people who believe in a religion from a book, and the people who believe there is no God at all.
Yeah,
each are the same stupidity in opposite direction.
It's also hard because like sometimes you're open to like understanding where other people are coming from.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh gosh, I remember the guy who I always have the argument with about like him would be like, I need multiple wives, and I'd just be like, you can't even take care of me. Like, I don't understand. And like in that scenario, I'm like, I could never imagine being okay with that particular person doing whatever he wanted.
I've always found poly relationships hilarious because it's like, or open relationships, because one guy will go, I want to open up our relationship, I want to test the waters, and then she goes, all right, pal.
Yeah.
Fucks 50 dudes because she's a girl, so she can. And this guy only gets to fuck one or two women who are usually less attractive. To me, like, a man who wants to open a relationship is like the UK wanting to leave the EU. It's like, it's not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out, man. Like, there's a lot more of them than there are of you.
Yeah, God.
You don't have the negotiating power you think in this. You're just embargoing your dick. That's what you're doing right now.
Back to the crying. I'm really on board with this. Like,
isn't this just all female comedians podcasts? Back to the crying.
Yeah,
anyways?
Back to the crying part. Yeah, there was a bit too much laughter in that for me. This is not meant to be funny.
Get me fucking canceled.
This is meant to be real. This is meant to be vulnerable, and I only speak. This is actually an intervention.
All male comedians just kind of, I don't have feelings. Female comedians like, so yeah.
I do feel like I'm like, oh, I'm so stereotypical sometimes. Sometimes being, but also, you know what annoys me is like, I have so many complex. Okay, wait. Yeah. I wanted to say back to the thing about feeling that you have to be the best.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because my feeling is that I can't ever possibly be the best.
Wild.
I go into every situation like, oh, I'm the worst. I shouldn't be here.
Why?
Well, I think that's just how I like, that's what my brain says.
Yeah.
But like, God, that must be like, I would love to have an ounce of what you have.
No, you don't want this. you don't, this is a hefty fucking, well, I'm feeling imposter syndrome heavy right now because, I don't want to talk about Edinburgh anymore. It's so lame. But things went well, but they didn't go maximally well, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And so like, because of that, and the feeling is that if I did 58 previews of that show.
Yeah.
If I don't mind saying, I worked harder than every single person that worked in their show. I know people are, but no one did. Only Dan Jones did more previews than me. He's the only person I know who did more.
Really?
He did like 63 across like a couple of years, and I did 52, so not 58 across a year and a half. And like, so yeah, it's like, if me.
Do you think you needed all of those?
I think I did. I think the show hit its maximal funniness after all of those. I was also, this is a crazy mentality, but like, I was also thinking that if I can't handle this, how will I be able to handle a world tour one day?
Okay, so that's an interesting thought because I do feel like it's so different. Like you're gonna have your world tour, you'll have your own audience, you'll have people coming out to see you.
Yeah.
And not like you didn't have that in Edinburgh, but also it's like, but like there's so many other factors in Edinburgh. Yeah. You're also competing. It's like whereas a world tour, I feel like it'd be just a nice time to be like these are people who have come out to see me on the state.
Yeah, the feeling now is that like if I work my absolute hardest and what the result is, me being average, that means I have to swim my hardest to tread water. So it's kind of like, oh fuck, was I meant to do this? Is the feeling I'm having right now.
No, I think that there's a quote, and I think it's from Louis, but I'm not really sure. He said that when he started, there were so many people who were better than him.
Yeah.
The only difference is that he kept doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that that whatever that percentage, when I first started, there was so many people talking about you need to have this amount of this 20% stage presence, 20% timing, and all this stuff. Yeah. And so much of it though was weighted on like just doing it and repetition.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when I go into things like spiraling, I'm like, well, you just keep on doing it. You can't not get better at something that you keep on doing. Exactly. It's just like you having all those previews. Your show was like, because I saw your show and I was it was like, wow, that was great. So having done a show with you every day for a month the year before and to see where those like ended up in an hour and seeing how you progress. It's a massive progression. Yeah. I think you can't not get better when you're doing it so often.
Yeah. I know I improved massively, and I also know, and this is what hurts, I know I'm probably very above average at most things. Like everything I've ever put my mind to, I've always ended up being very above average, and which is great for a normal person. But when you've been told your whole life by every person you love that you were born to be fucking exceptional, means anything but that, your life is a disappointment to everyone around you. And even now, my mother has realized that this was not a cool way to raise a kid. Right. And she's done a great job with my little sister. And she knows that, we've talked a lot about and she'll be the one to go, you should feel good about da-da-da-da-da-da. Doesn't matter now, dude. It's already in.
Yeah.
And so the standard that I hold myself to is first place. Everything else is defeat.
But that seems like that's like an impossible task. But also I think it's because I think outward it can quite look like, oh, this guy's ego. Yeah. You get caught. You must get caught for your ego sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And it's difficult, my ego, because I don't really. I want to do a bit about this one because everything I do with my ego, it's very internal. I try to keep that shit on a tuck. Right. And every little drip is amplified. Right. Which is upsetting. But like, there was one story, this is an application for the President Reserve, the gig we all did. And I want to do this, I think this is funny, but it really hurt my feelings when I found out this happened. So there was a part of the Pleasance, Islington, where there's a separate dressing room where I knew that if I go in this, the other comics won't know. Yeah. And I don't watch other people when I do competitions because my body's a mess. Yeah. I'm full of so much anxiety. And so in my private story, to make myself calm down, I texted to my private story, Lewis Hamilton doesn't sit with the other drivers. That got leaked very quickly.
I remember hearing that.
That got leaked very quickly. And it just broke my spirit that got leaked. Because it's like, all right, I guess my private story is full of fucking snakes.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I was not in your private stories.
Yeah. At the time.
Oh, now you are. Now I am, and I feel very special.
You are very special.
But you know what? This is what is so interesting because I'll put you in an umbrella. Guys like you who are like quite outspoken with things online. Yeah. But you explaining it, it's like it makes so much sense. You know what I mean? But I feel like people are very quick to be like, what? Because it hurts their ego too. Yeah. So I think this is what makes it really interesting. It's hard to balance because everything comes from a place, right? And it's very easy to take that on the surface and be like, oh, wow, he's an asshole or whatever. Yeah. But then really, you don't see in the story your anxiety or your like stress and you're also the pressure that you put on yourself for that. Yeah. Because you were you really wanted it, right?
Yeah. So, I wanted it, and I didn't like that I wanted it too, which annoyed me. I don't like wanting things. Yeah. But who does?
I know. Yeah. It's a scary place to be.
It's a place of weakness. Yeah. It puts you in a position where like it externalizes your own sense of self-worth. Yeah. Where it should all be internal. But then once you want anything, if you don't get it, unless you're a monk, you will feel bad. Yeah. You know, so that's what life is. And that feeling is, I feel like just life is just constantly not feeling that feeling of being bad. That's why I'm like always like, I walk into a room, I'm like, I know I'm bad. I know I'm bad. Yeah. I hate myself too. Do you hate me? That's fine because I already hate myself. No worries. No worries. That's crazy. Yeah. Like that is pretty much. I was there for a lot of my teens. It took a long time to manifest the confidence I used to have. But manifest the confidence I had when I was at my peak. And it'll come back. It'll come back in a different way.
But I also think this is a good like revisiting and reevaluating because you were working so incredibly hard on something, and I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself for that. You put a lot of pressure on yourself for getting certain things or whatever, instead of sitting back and being like, you should be proud of the show that you produced, and like how strong it made you as a comic, because longevity wise, that's what really matters. Yeah,
yeah. But this is the part where you gotta be a man and go, you can't live your life in pain, and be a man, but you know what I mean? Like you can't live your life. You can't live your life in a state of constant, oh fuck, oh I'm scared, oh it might be bad, oh. That is, I mean, you die one day.
I do that all the time now. I do it all that's like kind of where I live.
And which is bizarre because you exercise so much. You'd think that would fucking
like you mean physical exercise? Yeah. No, yeah, but still I'm like, I'm the worst one in this room because I've been in, I think, a few toxic relationships have really made my confidence just low.
Therapy, this is funny. So I'm currently trying to get a therapist. I got on BetterHelp.
I don't like BetterHelp.
Why not?
So I did it. And I had 3 sessions with this one girl.
Yeah.
And first of all, her every 3 weeks in a row, her smoke alarm was beeping as if to as if to change the battery, you know? And I'm like, if you can't change a battery, how are you going to change me?
My life.
Like, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And then I remember me being like, oh, I just feel like I'm not good enough in work. I feel like I'm not good enough in what I do. And I feel like I'm not good enough in dating. And she's like, I think it might be that you don't feel good enough. And I'm like,
oh, God.
Like I said that. But the last straw was that
that's horrible.
Yeah. The last straw, I was like telling her, like, I'm like, I don't feel confident or whatever. And she's like, well, you have to be confident because Guy's like a confident girl.
What the fuck?
And I was like, what qualifications do you have?
What kind of abuela fucking bullshit is this? Katie, you have to be confident because Guy's like a confident girl. It's like, dude.
Where that accent? Where is that from?
That accent is from the UKIP party conferences.
Wait, oh yeah, we were gonna talk about
the therapy. I have a fun. I think there's something funny in this. Is that so? My girlfriend. I had the therapy with the one guy. And it was decent. It was
on
good.
BetterHelp.
On BetterHelp. Yeah, it was decent. It was good. It's fine. But it wasn't hitting it. It wasn't hitting the spot, you know?
Yeah.
And so my girlfriend was like, you don't have to commit to this one. You should shop around. What are the odds that the first one you find is the right one on the app, you know? So now I'm back on Tinder. Because you shouldn't settle. But yeah, it is a weird level like dating because like
it does.
Because you have to find the right one for you and you have to go for quite a few shitty ones.
But people always compared finding it because I'm pretty new to therapy.
Yeah. And
people will always be like, oh, it's like dating. I'm like, well, that's why I need therapy. So don't fucking tell me that. Don't tell me it's like dating. Yeah. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because this is what I didn't know when I first started therapy. What do you think? What are the signs that the therapist is a good match for you?
It's fucking vibes. Like my old one, I kind of want to go back to my ex. I really want to go back to my old therapist because like he just had like a sageness about him. He was, and I ended it quite poorly.
Why?
I said I don't think I need this anymore. And he was like, no, just keep coming back. And it was, I don't know if he cared about me or if he just kept wanting more money. So I kind of just paid him off for the month. And I kind of stopped responding to his texts.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it was like, there is no way for me to tell you that I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't suck for me. And I also care about you, but I know I shouldn't care about you. So I'm going to be very cold about this and I will move on eventually. And I shelved what I was feeling about about the whole thing.
Well, I love that you're able to recognize that. Yeah. That's a pretty good step, though, to be able to be like, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
But then, are you gonna do anything about it? Like,
no, because the last time I was with that therapist was around about reserve.
Oh right.
Yeah. When did I go to France? It was well before the reserve. Yeah, it was before pre-reserve. Yeah. So like. I haven't needed therapy because like, and this might be a part of why I'm feeling so sad is that, you know, I kept having good things happen again and again and again and again. And now I've become a bit like numb to the amazing things, you know? And so I have to get Apollo for me to feel anything. Like I'm out of positive emotion. I need higher and higher pleasures for it to hit.
So wait, where do you get your validation from?
I don't.
What?
I don't.
Really?
I rate every set after, like, you know, out of 10 with a university, you know, level grading. Most sets are about a 7-ish. A lot of them are 6s, man.
Right now or what?
Right now, I'm having lots of 3s and 2s, my friend. Like,
okay,
it's bad. I am bombing a lot, and in a way that I'm not used to. Also because I know that I did not enjoy Edinburgh and I had bad crowds. But I think there was only one time where I was bad on stage.
Okay.
Literally in the whole month, I was bad on stage once.
Wow.
Every other time, I was doing everything I knew possible to do well. And I did well almost all of them, even though it wasn't to my standards of what I considered doing well is, you know. But that was only because I had a platform of just excellent material. Wall to wall, can't bomb because the materials just does it the work for me.
Yeah.
Doing new material now, especially when you're not feeling funny, I stink. I'm a bad comedian.
Bombing's such a weird thing because when you're doing it yourself, you're like, oh my God, this is the worst. This is the worst. Yeah. But like, I love watching comics work stuff out. It's like, it still can be really interesting because you're working it out.
Yeah.
And the reframing of like, it wasn't a bomb.
Yeah.
I always think that like, if you're working something out, like if bombing on old material, there's nothing worse.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There's nothing,
that's hell.
That's so hell. Yeah. But when you're bombing on, is it really bombing? It's like no, because you're verbalizing something you'd never said before. Yeah. I don't consider that bombing. I think it's like unfair for you to have that same standard of grading for something that is in the beginning stages is not really gradable. It's kind of like pass fail.
Yeah.
You know, like did I try the stuff that I wanted to try out? Yeah, I did. Pass.
Yeah.
Because the other option is bailing and
that's a waste of an afternoon and an evening as well.
Yeah, waste of a gig, and boy, do I do that.
I don't. But I like to just. But like the problem is, and I don't know how to say. I've been writing a lot of just. Do you remember when you met me? Remember the horrible shit I do on stage when you met me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
Really
Are you talking about reserve time?
No, but well before that. I'm talking about 2019, 2018. I was thinking about this in the shower yesterday of like, you know, the game and stuff like this. And Sarah Pascal said on a podcast, not her on a podcast, about how like there's a thing that like we were talking about earlier. There's a thing where men now know the language. It's the same thing happened with Black Lives Matter, where white people who are baddies know the language, right? And you kind of want your monsters to look like monsters, you know, and so they can navigate being what they are, without saying the correct word triggers to sound the alarm.
Yeah,
we have a sexist or we have a racist or whatever,
right?
So it's like she was talking about men who are, you know. There's men who view women as having access to a resource that they want. Ugh. And the thing is that they do.
Right.
But we have access to a resource that you want. The real issue is that men are willing to have sex with a woman that they don't have an emotional thing with. And women are willing to do it too, just on a much lower amount of women. More often than not, girls finds a guy hot, he can say something dumb enough that she won't want to fuck him.
Yeah.
Girl can't do that to me. Girl can't do that to me. Dude, you could get a concussion and like forget how to speak and then like come to and they go, you still want to go out with me? I'm like, all right, sure. Like, that's not gonna stop me, bro. Like, that's the real problem. Is that men are fucking pigs.
That is,
and we will fuck anyone if they're attractive. And so men learning the game and trying to find the right syntax to get in is a symptom of that they're willing to fuck anyone as long as they think they're hot.
God.
That's the real issue. It's not the game.
Yeah.
It's the impulse.
This is sombering. when I get this inside scoop from men, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like part of me is like, yeah. What can I find out about the male brain? What secrets do the men do the men have that I can learn from, that I can use?
It's not good.
And no, but it's also like, it's no. Because in my head, like, I just can't, like, when I hung out with this guy recently, the whole time I'm like, I'm not smart enough for him, or I'm not. Oh my God, I've said something dumb, or I've da 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 da, and I'm like, wow. And I speak to you, and I'm like, God, the real reason he didn't message me back is because I wasn't wearing makeup.
And by the way, I'm one of the good ones. I'm extremely emotionally available.
I like a self-proclaimed. I'm one of the good ones.
I don't give a fuck. I am.
Because it's the guys who are less open with what they've done, or you've always been very transparent.
Extremely so. Too transparent.
No, but I think it's very good. I think it's very, very good. I think it's also makes it you very easy to trust in that regard. Like I remember the living with you for a month. Like I had never once had a worry of being like, oh, I'm living with a man, because I've never lived with men in my whole life. I lived with a man once. And
I know it shouldn't do this to me, but you said at no point did I feel like I was living with a man. No. I know that's not but the male ego is the male ego.
I wasn't like worried. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
I didn't mean
it was just good to live with a little boy. I adopted Tad for a little black boy from Africa.
Who has more clothes than me?
I know what you meant.
You know, okay, I was going to say, guys.
Men are fucking terrible.
They are, hey?
But women are as well.
Yeah, but I'll cut that out.
We're all not great, and we should forgive each other and ourselves.
Yeah, but also I think having the discourse. Like this is why, even like you just telling me that story about why you didn't like me at first. That's a big thing that a lot of people would not even say.
Yeah. That comes from a place of comfort in the stability of our friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like, a growth element of like.
And a lot of things. I saw a Facebook post while I was up north, and it was like a person who is getting really good words said about him in Edinburgh right now. One time when he showed up to my open mic, he saw that it wasn't good enough, and he sacked off doing material and tried to do crowd work, and it bombed, and he just ruined my night. And then people do like the care emoji on that shit on Facebook. And I was like, I don't know if that's me, but it feels like something I would do. And it's a thing of like, a lot of the things, and I think sometimes it makes me worry I might have started comedy too early, but a lot of things I was like, oh, Tad was kind of egotistical, or Tad did you realize I was a 20-year-old.
This is what I tell people a lot.
I was really fucking young when I started comedy.
Yeah, this is what I tell people a lot. Even with I think, especially knowing you, I feel like when people are like, well, God, like his posts or whatever, but I'm like, he's like fucking 25. Like he's 20. Like I feel like people like really, really forget that.
And also, I don't act like I'm my age.
You do not act like your age, but it also like you gotta have the grace with somebody who's like, you're just like, you're like in a world that's like, it's a big thing to have, to be in this world so young.
And also, my frontal cortex didn't finish developing until like last week. So like,
and I have seen the growth already.
Give me a fucking break, man. I'm working 2 goddamn jobs and not doing bad at either one. So
yeah, like, that's insane. You're doing the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we should.
I'm gonna ask you a question before we go. Have you heard of this 36 questions that lead to love?
No.
So basically, there are 36 questions, and they're just like being vulnerable. And I really like to ask people a question, and because I love vulnerability, and I feel like you're gonna be great at it.
Yeah.
I don't love this one though. I feel like this is. When did you last sing to yourself?
All the time. I used to have a beautiful singing voice. Now I just have a quite good one. As I sing a lot around the house. It's annoying for people.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that about you.
It's it's annoying how much I sing.
Yeah. Okay. When did you last sing to somebody?
To someone.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago. I don't want anyone to hear me sing.
No?
Yeah. I don't sing to... And it's terrible because I could serenade. Well, not anymore, sadly. No, gladly. But I'm not going to sing for my girlfriend, man.
It's a bit...
That would dry... She might want it, but it would dry her out.
That's a bit of the okay.
It's icky as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather a guy make me laugh than sing to me.
Jesus Christ.
What will I do?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a really good question for you. And well, I mean, would you like to be famous?
No. I don't. I want to max out at Phil Wang numbers.
Okay.
Like Phil Wang's current is where I want to, and once I get to 100,000 on Insta, I want to say offensive things to make the new ones go away. Oh. I want to be able to do theaters around the country and then walk in anonymity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because being famous looks unpleasant. You've been around it.
Yeah.
It looks visibly unpleasant.
Yeah.
People come, can I take a photo? Fucking hell. He's a dick. He didn't want to take a photo of me while he was holding his daughter's hand on the way to school. Like, you know, it looks unpleasant.
Yeah.
Being famous looks extremely unpleasant. There's the sad side of it is I do want to be kind of like a comedy legend, you know. I do want to, it's always been my dream since I was like fucking a child to be like the people that I love and grew up. My dream, during the beginning of the new the latest Chappelle special, whereas the kid takes the record and he puts it and he's playing it. I want a kid to do that for me. I want a kid to, it's bedtime, Billy. All right, mom. And he pretends to be asleep and then he takes out his iPhone and starts watching my comedy special. That's the fucking dream.
Oh, wow.
That's that one weird kid. I want to be whatever I am to that kid for that kid. That's the dream. And so you don't really get to have that without the exposure that comes with having to have a lot of people know you.
Yeah.
However, that is the end goal. And if I can minimize the number of people that know me while still maximizing my profit and also getting to reach that child, that's winning.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's very cute, and that's a very good way to end.
Yeah.
I love that so much for you, Tad. Wow, that's beautiful.
Like I said, I'm one of the good ones.
I love that so much.
Because I got a lazy eye, I did it on both cameras. You can use 3 different takes of that shit.
That's getting clipped. Wow, I'm so excited. All right, okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
That's all good.
Is there anything you want to plug?
Maybe follow Dan Jones Comedy and go watch his tour. He's going to be hitting Manchester,
Dan Jones is great.
Bristol, and Brighton as well.
Great. He's amazing.
He's my best friend in comedy.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much, Tad.
Thank you very much, Katie.